What's up, everybody? Welcome to the View from Jamestown podcast edition. This is episode 77. This is the July 2022 edition, and we are sitting down this morning with TCC President Rob Roach, Inside Sales Manager Nicole Greenberg, and VP of Sales and Marketing AJ Petrarca.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey guys, how's
Morning,
it
Ben.
going?
You guys are all looking very blue today.
Love it.
You missed the light blue memo, Rob.
Yeah, I'm kind of gray.
We all walked in this morning, but we were like, "You're wearing the same thing. You're wearing the same thing."
I know, wasn't even planned. It's like we're all in sync now.
Yeah, yeah.
Not part of this clique.
Oh, come on, you're in the family. Oh.
How you guys doing? How's everything going?
Yeah, my mug. The mug.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, there
you go.
I
My
like
Yeti.
it.
You better be a TCC customer. You might have one of these coming your way.
You very well
Sneak
might be.
peek.
Are we sponsored by Yeti now? Is that the...
We should be.
Might as well be with the bill we just paid for
That
Christmas
ACH Michaela
gift.
just sent.
Yep, that was a doozy. No.
I'm excited for those. They're gonna be cool.
They're gonna be awesome. I think we're gonna have a trouble keeping them out of people's hands early.
Yeah.
So we had given away that Yeti hard cooler at the, I guess, American Coding Show.
Yep.
And the person that won it is very ecstatic about, like, there's been multiple attempts to, her family members have tried to steal it from her. And she is very excited about that, winning that gift. So
I love it.
that was good. That was a good play on that.
Well, that thing like aged well too, because like we bought it for the last coding show, and it is a color you no longer can buy anymore. So
Well,
it's
that's
even
what
got some exclusivity to it too. So
Yeah, so apparently whoever was trying to steal it knew it was a limited edition color and saw the value in it or whatever. So yeah, it's a thing.
probably resell it and then get 3 Yetis for it. But,
Yep.
I love it. Oh man.
But yeah, it is mid-July. It feels like mid-July outside. It's been quite hot. Just came back from North Carolina. You were just recently in Nashville, so really packing on the heat here recently.
Can't get away from it seems.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. And we're here without Mr. Javier Fernandez as he's doing some party planning. See,
Prepping for
Curious how
his
that's
son
going.
Joaquin's second birthday tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, fantastic.
I'm gonna FaceTime. We're gonna see if he's answering here. This will be our first ever phone into the podcast.
I like it. I
Phone a
like
friend.
it. Yeah.
He's probably not gonna answer.
Too busy with the party planning.
Yeah.
I just want to know. I
party
just want to
prep.
know what it includes.
I mean,
It's gonna, be hot, it's gonna be hot tomorrow too. It's gonna be like 95, 96 for him.
right?
We were pressuring him yesterday. Tomorrow, what does your day look like?
Like what is said party?
Hopefully sprinklers and slip and slides.
Well,
you
or
know,
how about like just ice baths? I mean,
Just troughs.
like a plunge, like where you throw the ball and you plunge, but it's ice. That would be
well,
good.
and it'll melt
They have
fast
a lot of
enough.
volunteers.
but-
Yeah, dunk tank.
That's
Dunk tank.
Oh, now
An
that's
ice
a,
dunk tank.
that's a
Dunk
good
tank
one.
would be
I
cool.
like it. Oof, man, ideas for next year.
I like it.
Oh.
But I sent a gift. I can't make it Folk Fest this weekend. We're going to the Folk Fest, so
You going by land or by sea?
by land, going to
Wow.
Toasty.
That's a bold move.
I know.
Good for
I know.
you.
It's gonna be hot. It's gonna be a hot one. But we got Sunday Brandy Carlisle coming and some great acts. You know, the lead singer of Mumford and Sons, Gary Mumford or something like that. He's coming, and there's some rumors that maybe Elton John might come in on a helicopter or something. So we'll see. We'll see.
Wow.
It's always fun, the Newport Folk Fest.
Who was here last year? At the very end,
Oh,
the singer.
well, there was rumors Paul McCartney was going to come, but he didn't show up. But
No, the Dolly Parton. Wasn't Dolly Parton here last year?
that was 2-3 years ago.
Was it that
She
long
came.
ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always like, that's the great part about the Folk Fest. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Who's going to come for a song like Brandy's very tight with Elton John. He's in New Jersey, and they're like, well, his show's not on till 8 p.m. at night.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll helicopter in,
That'd be something.
do a duet with Brandy, and then go back to his concert in New Jersey. But I mean, you know, so sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, one year out of the blue, Mumford and Sons was there.
Yeah.
You know, it was like 3-4 years ago. I was just like, oh my God.
And that's what makes people come back is
We're at Newport.
Yeah,
you
okay,
know?
the set list is what it is, but this person could show up or that person could show up,
Right,
so people are going to be
right.
there for that.
It's the element of surprise, right?
Yeah.
Gotta get people excited about something.
We're big fans of it, so especially my wife. So we're going to be over there quite a bit this weekend.
Don't you usually do it by boat though? You go anchor up.
I
and-
used to, but then you don't see the other acts. So you see the main stage, and you really don't hear it that well. But they have like a side stage, and then they have another side stage where you go around and back into Fort Adams, and you can see at the same time they're all playing, you know, but they're, you know, different venues. And I saw Mandolin Orange / Watch House last year on the side stage.
Yep.
They're huge now, but it was just amazing to just roll up and say, oh, I'm going to check out this band, Watch House, like, oh my God, mind blowing.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. Pretty cool that we have that right here in Little Rhodey.
Sure is.
But yeah, it's been a busy couple weeks, it seems like. You're just down in Nashville for the Southwestern Fertilizer Show. Sounds like that was a good one, and besides being hot, was well attended and good couple days down there.
Yeah, it was very well attended. It was the 96th year that they've had it, and it was the biggest attendance ever. So yeah, it was a lot of folks are excited to be back out and back at it. So yeah, it was a good show.
Yeah, and we were at the Chemicals America show, I guess, the week before that. So it's been a busy couple weeks since the last podcast we had.
Yep.
Also well attended, was another good show.
They had 400 exhibitors?
Something like that, yeah. I think even maybe a little bit more.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Yeah, just spilling out into the hallways. That was great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just down in North Carolina this week, seeing customers and stuff like that, and I think you appreciate the value of trade shows and things like the Southwestern Fertilizer Conference, where you can have 15, 20 meetings versus driving all over the place for 5.
Mm-hmm.
So
much more efficient.
Appreciate the
much more sustainable way to see a lot of folks.
There you go. There's that spin to it.
Yep, I like it.
You're spending too much time with Karen Benson.
I know.
But yeah, getting right into it, we're in July, so we're starting to hear results from the chemical industry on Q2 results. Has definitely been kind of a common trend, I think. Sales continue to be up. Unsurprised to see sales dollars and prices up, but heard results specific to volumes down kind of across the board from the various results that we've seen, anywhere from single digit to double digit percentages. So interesting to see sales dollars continue to be high, but volume starting to come down, I think kind of indicative of this sort of wobble, as we keep calling it, where we might be kind of in an in-between period here in July and August, with demand not necessarily as robust as it was during COVID or for the past year and a half. Just kind of waiting and seeing what's going to happen for the next couple months and second half of the year.
Yeah, I think Q3 is going to be quite a shock, on all levels, because that wobble has turned into straight depression. So, depression of prices, depression of not necessarily prices, because you got things like natural gas really elevating things right now. So it's more demand. There's been a tremendous amount of demand destruction, and especially places like Europe, who's in a really hard time right now. Highlights. There's some highlights out there in China and other Asia, but in the U.S. Small company, we see things. July is way down. Demand is way down, and people are worried about inventories. So, you're talking about Dow, volume down 2% for Q2. I think that's going to go up considerably. Per store volume down 13% Q2. Again, I think that's going to come up for Q3, and then BASF is really in a hard position right now with the Rhine River levels getting to dangerously low levels, and 40% in the Nord Stream pipeline, only 40% of 100% being a normal operation of gas coming from Russia. Now they're only 40%. So things are critical right now and getting worse. And
not just BASF, obviously on the Rhine. That's going to impact all of Germany. Things like
Absolutely.
the Rhine, things like the energy. What's going to happen with the energy coming into wintertime? It's going to be an interesting.
If you look at the graphs, we're very low right now, and they usually don't get rain until October. So this is a big concern.
Yep.
And so you're seeing the result right now. The parity in the dollar to the euro almost. Europe's in a rough go right now, really, really rough go, and I would say they're already in recession.
We put an interesting article I thought out. I don't know if it's gone out yet or not, but if not, it will be in the View, obviously our email newsletter, talking about there's obviously things going up. People talk a lot about recession, but there's also kind of this third tier where it's just like stagnation, where it's not necessarily falling off a cliff. It's just kind of flat. So I think something everyone talks about recession, and we certainly could be heading in that direction or already in that direction. But there's kind of this third option where things are just kind of flat. So we'll see. That's
stagflation, and that's we are in stagflation.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it's very well reported. There is stagflation, just like the 70s, and in the 70s it lasted 6-7 years. So the costs of many things are not coming down. If not, they're getting worse. And so that's to your point. Yeah, it's not up or down. It's right where it is, which is very expensive. I mean, operating this company right now is very expensive. Just the way it is. It's the cost of that have come up considerably, and they're not dropping.
Yep. I think AJ, you've talked for a long time about how high prices are for stuff that we sell, and we talk about inflation at whatever you want to call it, 7%, but that it's probably even higher than that realistically with how much more expensive everything seems like it is these days. So.
Yeah. The numbers, the inflation numbers that we hear on the news are always shocking to me. I always think they'd be a lot bigger than what they are, just based on prices of raw
shocking for a
material.
different reason.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I'd expect it to be double digits,
right.
5-6 months ago, but it's the wobble is a very good way to describe where we're at right now.
Big wait and see, kind of some question marks. Obviously, not. I think people hear the word recession, they think doom and gloom and drastic falling off a cliff, and obviously there is a piece of that, but I think there's more of kind of like a wait and see right now with what's going to happen versus all doom and gloom necessarily.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely a wait and see at this point. Yeah, I would say so. Wobble is something that I started talking about at our sales meeting in the early June, and I think that's definitely, we're still wobbling right now and wondering where we're going to end up. And with the volumes coming down, there's going to be some overreaction, but costs are still very high. And I'm talking even in our business, like the cost of meals and entertainment, like just going out to a dinner or a lunch, are super high. The cost of airfare to go,
flights, rental cars.
If you can get them, right?
If you can get them, it's ridiculous. So just the living costs for everyone, those aren't dropping. They're not dropping at all. So something's got to happen. But we're seeing it. That's what I'm saying. We're seeing it. The demand is slowed. Interest rates. Okay, everybody's like, well, they're only 5.5%, 5.75%. That's double what they were.
Right.
So 20% in the last couple weeks increase in natural gas. That's going to keep going, in my opinion. We were calling for 14, 15 per MMBTU, come October, when we starting to really put some demand. Propane prices, that's going to affect propylene, so propylene values will come back. So, everybody's like, well, wait and see, maybe the price will come down. Not necessarily, not with what's going on in Europe and lack of gas. We're going to have to supplement that with ships of natural gas, ships of propane, ships of whatever, so and these things, as we know, take time to backfill.
And that was interesting in the last month. Crude took a big jump, $15-$20 per barrel off where we were a month ago. But
at their highs, yeah.
But natural gas up 20%. So you got two very different. I feel like usually they're sort of tracking the right direction, and that obviously didn't happen.
And we went from a temporary 115, 120 back to 100, and we're stable at 100 on oil. That's not great,
right?
$100 a barrel. That's nothing to celebrate, So. So yeah, as I said in our morning meeting this morning, I said, hey, listen, things are crazy and they're not going to get better. They're just going to continue to be crazy. Yep. So we have to accept that and operate within those parameters.
Yeah, and I know we touched on it a little bit, but I think there's a lot of question marks specific to Europe. Obviously, it's an important supply channel for the U.S. beyond even just chemicals. There's a ton of industry in Europe that will directly affect what's going to happen here. So between things like not getting rain for the summertime, some of the electricity concerns, obviously some crazy fires going on right now, record high temperatures. It's a crazy time in Europe, and it's going to have implications, beyond just the humanitarian issues of the fires and all that with industry and what's going to happen for the coming months. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and a war right at their doorstep, a major war, one of the worst conflicts since World War II. So, I mean, they just came out that they're going to open up the grain from Ukraine and Russia have agreed to, which, food. And when I talk to my contemporaries in Europe, they're really concerned with the food situation. And rightfully so. I mean, it's one thing to not have energy, for cooling and air conditioning in the summertime, but when you don't have food, that's an even bigger issue. And the people that are really suffering are the third and fourth world countries that are just not getting the support now because people are, contracting that and they're not able to get food, and we've got a humanitarian crisis here. So thankfully, the grain flows have started again, which is great. So.
Was there a lot of talk at the fertilizer show about fertilizer availability and things like that? I know there are questions about fertilizer problems, which then leads to crop issues. Did that come up much, or?
Not as much discussion about availability, because that lack of availability didn't really materialize here in the U.S. More just about high prices, just all-time high prices for nitrogen and phosphorus and things like that, and high prices for commodities, corn, soy, have all we're all high and starting to fall off now a little bit. But that was everyone's talking points were about how expensive nitrogen it was to fertilize.
So less corn, more soy. Soy needs less nitrogen, corn needs a tremendous amount. So the soy crop will be higher because it actually the nitrogen goes back into the soil from soy. But corn is nitrogen, they need a lot of nitrogen. So you probably going to see the price of corn go up again. I mean, it's a temporary sort of thing. But and then, of course, we've got tremendous drought and heat throughout the the growing belt of the United States, and so I think that's at risk as well.
Yep. One of the things we talked about in the morning meeting as well is Asia and China. Obviously starting to hear some rumors that maybe the tariffs will go away here soon, but we're obviously talking about just the general importance of China and Asia as a whole in sourcing and industry, tariff or no tariff. Obviously, I think we've said within the last couple of months, we've really realized how important of a supply avenue is, and some good news with some of the freight. It sounds like freight's coming off a little bit here in the last couple of weeks, which is good news as well. So.
Yeah, sort of similar to celebrating $100 barrel of oil. We're celebrating $7,800 container rates right now. So they're down a bunch, but they're still high compared to historical levels.
Yeah, is that what we're seeing, like $7,000, $8,000, $9,000?
Yeah. It was at 12, and then most recently down to between 75 to 8,000. Yeah. And a lot of raw material prices are off in China as well, with demand being off, and so we're seeing big decreases from China. So when those tariffs go away, it's gonna be, I think the floodgates are really gonna open up for a lot of products that were not making it their way here previously.
Yeah, I know you touched a little bit on just the general importance of China as a supply avenue, or I know we kind of just talk about China, but really Asia as a whole, there's a lot of products that are produced there or exclusively there that is important for the global economy.
I had somebody say to me the other day, they said, they're not in our industry, but they said, these tariffs, did you realize we pay those tariffs?
Where have you been?
The American consumer is paying those tariffs. I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, the benefit is, more competitiveness for American producers, or less, it's less competition, but they're more competitive and able to compete. But yeah, I mean, there's been a big structural change in Asia where a lot of the low-cost labor stuff have moved to Malaysia, Philippines, Vietnam. They're trying to bring higher values into China. They've been a great source for Europe during, all of these problems and things, because a lot of European producers, I mean, if you go back in our podcast, we were talking about natural gas, 800% increase, then ammonia increase and shutdown. And now we're hearing that certain producers are saying, listen, we'll make things that we can sell at a small profit or break even, but we're not making anything more. It's very difficult for them to turn back these plants, and they're going to be forced to do so, unfortunately, which is going to crimp the supply to the global supply chain. But yeah, I mean, it's we have an office in China, we source in China, we still bring a lot of products in from China through the tariffs that we just can't get elsewhere. It's not produced in the rest of the world, or at least not at scale. Right. So we're still forced to bring it in. We pay that 25% tariff, and that gets passed on to the consumer. So dropping the tariffs, I've got mixed feelings about it. You know what I mean? I still love America, and I want us to be the most competitive in the world. And sometimes these producers in China are subsidized and don't have to compete at the level that American companies do. So, mixed feelings about it. And I think that's where the Biden administration is too. They're saying, hey, they haven't necessarily been good to us. And so we haven't been good to them with the tariffs. So, we have to compromise. So maybe there will be a compromise, but I'm not sure they're just going to say, okay, the tariffs are over. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah. Are you still seeing much activity or any activity with new suppliers out of China? Have you had much sample activity on stuff coming from Asia, or has it been?
There's actually been an uptick recently, probably in the past 4 to 6 weeks, of different requests coming out of China, more sample availability. They've been able to fulfill, and there are certain products that, they do have to ship direct from a supplier in China to our sample handling facility stateside versus going through.
Because of COVID issues?
Because of COVID issues, and there are certain products that clearance-wise, customs-wise, it's easier to go through the U.S. Versus, route through Shanghai. But they've been pretty consistent with being able to fulfill those regardless, and just pricing and availability is pretty solid. So yeah, definitely seeing an uptick on that as well, which is good. It's good to see.
Yeah, I think the freight coming down is good news, and especially if the tariffs go away, there'll be a whole lot of interest in more and more products from China, so it's good news.
Yep.
I feel like we've seen an uptick in sample requests in general in the last couple months. People doing more R&D activities and getting back to some of that, whereas it was just running the plants at 100% with whatever you can get raw materials for.
Yep, and that's also a good thing to see, because I think that means that you've got people who are either trying to, branch out their current production process or find alternatives if there is ever, an issue with a raw material that, that way they don't have to stop production. Yeah. And, I think that innovation and growth is a great thing.
Yeah. Moving on, price updates and trends, thinking back from early July, kind of a pricing all over the place. We had increases on things like Adipic, on plasticizers, slight decrease in things like methanol. So depending what products are derived from or priced based off of, obviously a little bit of fluctuation, not necessarily everything up or everything down in a month. Been tracking benzene coming off pretty significantly for July based on where the July contracts settled at. Like we said a little bit, crude oil coming down to that $95, $100 range, but natural gas up 20-25% month over month. So be interesting to see how pricing settles for August, both with what raw materials do, and then if there's a little bit of a slowdown in excess material, if producers keep pricing more attractive to try to keep moving material. It'd be, I think, interesting to see what we see for August across all of our products.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's like a mix, when it comes to, say, adipic acid, you've got, a benzene factor that's come off, but a natural gas factor that's gone through the roof. Plasticizers, oxo alcohols, they've come off in Asia due to a demand destruction from COVID. But it's so costly to get any of them here, it's not going to show up. And then you've got phthalic anhydride, which is part of the ester. Phthalic anhydride is through the roof because of the xylenes and the fuels and the demand in that value chain. So, you've got a lot of mixed things here where people want to see prices come down, but they just simply can't because one piece of the ingredient puzzle comes off and something goes crazy. So it's going to be quite a mix, and I don't think any producer is really looking to just sell things at a loss at this point. Right. It's just they're just that's what we're hearing from some of our partners in Europe is like, we'd love to decrease prices, but we simply can't. So
yeah, if it's not oil, it's freight. If it's not freight, it's gas. If it's not gas, it's supply and demand. There's always something.
There's raw materials. Yeah, it's always something.
Yeah, even if demand falls off a cliff, like cash cost is going to keep prices at a certain level, right? Like you said, like producers aren't going to sell at a loss. It just doesn't make sense.
Right. Yeah, you talk about $8 per MMBTU gas. There's a lot of methanol now made in the USA. That's close to $1 a gallon cash cost. Well, that's where the price is right now. So, it's a very difficult thing. You talk about propylene had seen a retreat over the last couple months. Now they're talking about increasing propylene costs based on propane and the fact that there's on-purpose propylene production, So, and of course, their cash costs are below the 51 cents a pound or whatnot. So it goes back to our stagflation discussion.
And we're in July. So obviously we're going to get into the colder months where natural gas demand is even going to increase. So
right.
That'll make things interesting as well. Add a ninth factor into what's impacting in pricing.
Well, good news is that the stock market took a break this week from dropping.
Yep. Always got to find that positive space to live in. Right?
It actually slowly tricked up all month when you look.
Yeah?
Whenever we do this, I look at the last 30 days. So last 30 days, the NASDAQ was up 1,600 points. Dow was up 1,200 points, which I think is even higher as of today. So it was a good week, but it was a good last 30 days as well, which has kind
But
of
it was
been a
an
nice
awful
quiet.
6 months.
You're right. Relatively speaking.
Baby steps, right? Baby
steps.
steps.
But yeah, that is, I guess, a silver lining. I feel there's been a lot of bad news today. What's the good news? You guys have any?
Nicole's good for the good news usually. What do
I
you
like to
got?
get excited about a lot of stuff, right? That's you radiate excitement. It goes, it's contagious.
It's Friday.
It is. It's
Yeah.
Friday. Hey, just we've got Joaquin. He's turning 2. Can you
Yes.
believe it?
He
I
is.
mean,
Yeah. Javi's son.
Javi is hard party
Planning.
planning and preparing
He
right now.
FaceTimed
So
back to you, I think.
Well,
so.
he called, so I'm gonna see if I can get him on FaceTime so we can get him.
get Mr. WhatsApp on the air.
Yeah, maybe that's what I should do.
Hey,
is
and you know
WhatsApp
what I'm
him.
excited about? The graphics that you produced to go the Mr. Worldwide.
Oh, that was these guys. There was some good ones in
Fantastic.
there.
That was something. I mean, you gotta love it. You gotta love it.
T-shirts coming soon.
Yep.
I told you he's still in bed. That's why he doesn't want to FaceTime. He's gonna call you back.
Oh, come
Not
on.
gonna
Jav.
answer.
Party planning.
Yeah. Party pooper. No.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens for pricing for August. A lot of factors. I'm sure it will be interesting. I think a couple months and Q3 results will, I'm sure, be mixed. If Q2 results were what they were, I think there'll be even a bigger spread on volumes and sales dollars for Q3. It should be interesting. Featured products, new products for August. We have a product that we've sold for a long time, but haven't really talked about on this podcast at least too much, and something that would likely be a good one to grow. I know Javier does a lot of DCPD in coordination with AJ. Obviously, Javi took the day off today and is leaving you to handle the featured product responsibilities. So we'll talk about DCPD a little bit.
Yeah, Javier is the foremost expert within our company, so I can't speak to it super well, but we do sell a bit of DCPD for coatings and resin applications. There are, I think, four main grades available that differ by purity. The main one that we do, the biggest volume one, is it's a 86 to 88%, and that's used in coatings and resins applications. So hit up Javi on WhatsApp if you have any opportunities on DCPD. Let us know.
Primarily bulk, but I guess we could do package as well. But I think the business we're doing now is more bulk type quantities.
Yeah, there's not a lot of package business out there, but we are able to offer
Speaking of the manager,
drums. Here we go.
Javier, you're live on the podcast.
Oh, hi, how are you?
So watch your mouth.
Which camera we got? There's say hello to Zach.
Hi, Zach, how are you?
Love it. Love it.
How's the party planning going? How we doing?
It's going. Right now, picking up some sandwiches at the moment.
Very
Perfect.
Very good.
Perfect.
Gotta feed the people.
We wanted an update on the party planning. We were gonna let you totally get off the podcast. So,
Miss you have.
All right, he's not in bed. Okay.
Javi, we were just talking about our featured products. Any wise words on DCPD you want to add in?
What is it?
I
cannot listen.
We were just talking about DCPD as our featured product. Do you have any wise words on DCPD you want to include for the audience?
Oh, we have plenty available, good pricing, a lot of availability, and we have the spigots open. So just WhatsApp me.
There we go.
That's precisely what AJ said. So that was a good recap.
Perfect.
You're the first ever phone-in guest. So congratulations on that.
All
All
right.
right,
Happy
buddy.
birthday, Joaquin.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you later. All right, moving on. Events, conferences, trade shows. Kind of obviously being mid-July, definitely a slower time for shows, which is nice. Some shows coming up for the fall time frame, but won't really get into those now. And then I know looking even beyond that, we're thinking about next year with things like AFPM and starting to plan the next sales meeting. You've had 6 weeks to not talk about the sales meeting. Now it's time to start talking about it again. So
Exactly. I love it. Hey,
keeping you busy.
It does, and it keeps us, keeps the conversations going. It's great. You don't realize how fast time flies by until you're there.
Yep.
And you go, wow, where'd the year go?
Do we know AFPM is definitely back in San Antonio?
That's the question of the day.
Can you answer it for us?
Oh, so we don't know. Okay.
We don't know. we have a percentage level of confidence that it's going back to San Antonio, with just not enough to warrant like putting cash down on it yet.
Wouldn't put the house on it.
No, not yet.
No.
Not yet. Not yet. The condo maybe. House not so much.
I love it.
But no, we're still waiting to confirm that and start planning things for the next AFPM. We got some marketing ideas in motion for the next AFPM.
Yes.
Of course we do. Fantastic.
We'll discuss. But yeah, I mean, without talking about trade shows, that kind of wraps things up a little bit.
Oh no, you got to talk about EPCA because they're mulling canceling it
Crazy.
because of the energy consumption of having so many people arrive into Berlin. So that was something that was kind of a shock this week to hear that, here after COVID, after 3 years of not having the EPCA, now they're talking about canceling the EPCA. So, and then there's also the K show. Will they cancel the K show as well because of
Massive
That's a
show.
huge energy
That's a
consumer.
huge energy consumer, but really is that going to have an impact? You know what I mean? I think it's more important to bring business interest to Europe than to, consume a little bit more energy. I mean, it's fractional, so I was kind of surprised to hear about that, but
Yeah, because you use more energy, but you're losing out. I mean, however many people go to the K show and EPCA, you're missing out on all that money people would spend on hotels and flights and food and industry.
Which they
and
haven't
they're
had.
both in October, so we won't need air conditioning. We might need a little heat, but it's,
if anything, it's the perfect time year to go to not use energy.
right. It's perfect temperature.
Summer would be bad,
usually.
winter would be bad, but October would be.
Right.
That's that
right.
sweet spot.
Yeah.
But that was kind of a shock to hear that this week, and our plans are in motion. We got 4 or 5 of us going. So but we'll see. I just wanted to bring that up before we skipped over it because that was another shocking thing.
Yeah, it'll be. I wonder if other shows are thinking about that. If that's a thing with Europe with events, maybe the government's trying to push organizations like that to cancel stuff. I mean, it's the first I heard of it, but it'd be interesting if that's
a little over
a
the top.
trend.
I think
Yeah.
I think it's a little over the top, and of course, in November you got APLA in Cancun. I mean, might have to go to that.
I'm going to that one.
We're all going to that one.
We'll see an increase in volunteers to attend that.
We're gonna do our mid-year sales meeting
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the APLA.
Okay.
Can we
Mini one.
Can we combine the APLA and EPCA and just everyone go to Cancun?
Yeah, well, that's not a bad idea.
Hey, Benny, there you go.
Gotta get on the board.
No, I'm not enough boards. We'll put you on the board. Isn't your tenure almost over with the Chemical
Nope.
Club? Right?
I got a couple of years.
You got some time on your hands now. I mean, your kids are almost ready for college. You got some time on your hands,
Got a few years before I gotta talk about college.
Gosh, they got to start driving first.
Yep.
Yeah. But I think it was a good episode. A lot going on. A lot of I don't know. I feel like we had a lot of bad news, so I appreciate Nicole's positivity to try to lift the spirits here a little bit.
I try.
Our very tan Nicole. I don't know if we can get a close up here of Nicole, but
Hey, it's for your wedding, right?
it's my fiance's fault.
I was gonna say I'm helping your fiance. She's one of my very near dear friends, so
His wedding's in 2 months.
well, that's why you prep now, right? You don't. Come on, you can't
ease into these things.
You can't have these trial runs the week of, Rob. Could you imagine?
But you have to warn us if you're going to get a spray tan, because then we have to get a spray tan. So we match you at least.
You know what I said? The pump house, right? Over
put a
the
booth
gym
in?
area. Oh, you could get a great pop-up booth going there.
We'd be making money.
I'm telling you, right? Nice side business.
Forget the sauna. But
Yeah.
Doesn't your dad have a tanning bed in his house or something like that?
He did. He sold it. He sold
What's
it.
the chemistry of spray tan? Can we look into that?
We looked it up.
We
It's
did, is it
dihydroxyacetone.
Yep.
It's a
I'd
that-
love
that-
to spray that all over my body.
so it's
That's
derived
it.
from sugar. It's organic,
We did look it up.
but it doesn't sound too organic.
No, it doesn't. Upon first, look at it, we were like, okay.
We could spray that all over our body and vape propylene glycol.
It's the winning
Some
combo
of the things
right
we
there.
do.
Bio-based propylene glycol, so it's all good,
Oh,
right?
okay. It's fine to inhale in your lungs then. It's made from bio. It's sustainable.
I love it.
It only took 9 weeks off Nicole's life. It's no big deal.
It's all for your wedding, Benny.
Yeah, thanks, Benny.
Yeah.
Yeah, all for the blushing bride over
Is
here.
that part of the bachelor party? We'll get spray tans too. Is that on the agenda?
Absolutely not.
There's a few other fun items, but that's not one of them.
But there's a difference with like if you're a person that gets tan, like you get tan normally. So you look more tan, but we're kind of used to you being tan. My
Not
fiance's
the
a little more
type of
fair
tan I
skinned,
was
so
2 days ago.
fiance's a little more fair skinned, so seeing her tan is different.
But you liked it.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it looked.
it looks good.
It looked
It looks good.
great.
Just different.
Just different, right? But take some getting used to,
Yeah.
This seems
Love
like a
it.
personal conversation you guys should have.
Anyways, thank you guys for the time. Good talking to y'all. We'll
Same.
see you guys on the next, I guess, the August edition. We'll see how things are shaking out for Q3. As always, appreciate you listening, whether you're streaming the audio version or the video version on YouTube, social media, wherever you get your content. Hopefully you're seeing these clips all over social media, courtesy of our friends at Kettlebottom Creative. I think we've been doing a lot more clips and content going out there. So if you're not already following on LinkedIn, highly recommend you doing that so you see these clips on a timely basis. But as always, appreciate you for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for streaming the View from Jamestown podcast edition.
Like and subscribe for more.